Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today. Scott Moyes here from Capra Systems. It's been far too long since I created my last video for this channel, but a couple of months ago I created a quick video on Instagram showing people how easy it can be to create organic freeform surfaces for human interaction with your mechanical designs. So a lot of mechanical engineers will see the Sculpt environment inside Fusion 360 and think it's not for them or it's not useful for them. But this little demo here shows that actually it can be pretty useful and really quite easy to use. With that in mind, John Saunders from NYC CNC saw that video and suggested we do a collaboration where I create a more detailed CAD tutorial, so here I am, and then he will do the cam and also cover how the part could be machined on one of his mills. So let's get started. Just want to click on that purple blobby thing up on the ribbon and create a form by entering the Sculpt environment, and then from the create drop down we want to grab a cylinder. Now I'm picking a cylinder because it's a handle, it's a grip that we're going to grab with our hands, so it's a good primitive shape to start with. The first thing that wants is a plane to start on and then a center point, and I'm going to give it a dimension here. At this point 40 mils is what I'm after, and I want it to be about 120 mils high, so we'll just keep dragging that up until we get to 120. Of course I can just type in the dimensions as well. Now something to consider here is whether or not I want symmetry, and I do want my grip to be symmetrical, so I'll turn that on, and then I can choose whether I want it to be on the length or the width. And I've got 8 faces radially, which is a good number. It gives, you don't want too many, you've got to keep it as few as possible, but I do need quite a few more in the length, so I'm going to go with 12. And you'll see why I need a certain amount as we develop through this tutorial. So I'll click OK to accept that, and now I just want to have a look in the front view so I can see this part from the side. Now you can select edges or faces or vertexes, and you can hold down the control key on your keyboard to select multiple. So in this case here I'm grabbing every other one, and I've got 4 fingers on my hand, so I'm going to grab 4 points. And when I edit the form, we'll see this dramatically change and kind of turn into a grip, a handle grip, very quickly. So I'm just going to go with putting those kind of dimples in there to start with. And then I'm going to add some more in here, and we'll go back to this view and pull it in another 5. At this point, you know, it's quite flat, so we need to add a little bit more kind of curvature around here so it pulls in a bit further. So I can just select the edges at this point and pull those in somewhat. But if I did this using the glyph in the current orientation, then it's not going to give me the desired result. I actually want to pull it in towards the center of this body, so I can turn on the local coordinate space and switch over to this axis here and just start pulling it in. Now 5 mils probably, minus 5 mils probably too much there, so I'll pull it back out and go in -3, and let's take a look at that. And that change is taking effect on the opposite side here, on the mirrored side, and I'm pretty happy with that for the sake of this tutorial. Right, so now we need to deal with the top side of this part, and to do that I can double click on this one edge and it's going to select the edge chain. I'm going to switch back to my world coordinate space here, and then here's a little trick with T-Splines. So on any one of these modifiers here, you can click and drag and it's going to move the current selection, but if you hold down Alt on your keyboard and click and drag, it will actually add an additional edge. And I'm going to add one more, so I let go of the Alt key and then press it down again, and now I'm creating another one. That's it. So I can do all sorts of stuff at this point. I can create a little bit of, I could scale this without holding down the Alt key and just give it a bit of flair on the top. Okay. I can also just grab maybe this edge here and pull it out and give it a little bit of a hangover. Rather than selecting the edge, I'm actually going to do that with the face. And it's a little bit pointy on the front, so I'll just add a little bit more here and come back to our local coordinate system, and I'm going to add, say, 2 mils out in that. Nope, I want to go in this direction. not 5 mils, but 2 mils. So yeah, we've got quite a bit of shape going on there, and I'm going to leave the bottom open, but I'm going to pull it in slightly, and you'll see why in a second. But I do need to fill this hole on the top. So from the modify drop down here, I can select the fill hole command, and I just need to double click that, and you can see that it's kind of created this funky effect. That doesn't look very good to me, so I can try some other options here, and the fill style looks good, so I'll accept that. Right, let's deal with the bottom of this shifter now. I want to close this off. I don't want it to stop at a dead flat. So if we double click that edge chain again and right click and select edit form, just need to make sure we go back into the world coordinate space, and we'll use the same trick we used on the top, but we're not going to bother filling it in completely. So I'll hold down Alt and grab that scale and pull it in to about there. We'll have a look and see what we've got here. Yep, that looks pretty good. I'll accept that, but I'm gonna double click this and insert an edge. Yep, below is fine, just to give it a little bit more form, kind of a bit of a sharper finish at the bottom. But I can drag this back up. Yeah, there we go. So I'm pretty happy with that form overall, and we'll click OK on this and then finish form. At this point we've got a T-spline surface. If we expand our bodies here, we can see we've got this surface body, and we do need it to be a solid. So if we switch to the patch workspace, then from create we have this pretty cool command here called boundary fill. This requires some tools, so I'm going to select the first tool as this body, and you can actually use the origin planes as tools as well. So I can use this XY plane here to cap off this volume and choose a cell. So we switch over to this to select the cell, click on this checkbox and click OK, and it's just created a solid by filling up the T-spline surface and capping it off with my XY plane. Now going back to the model workspace, we can look at getting a hole on the bottom of this with a thread to set about having something to fix this on to a gear lever or something like that. So I'll create a sketch on this flat face on the bottom, and it is still a flat face because we used an XY plane to patch it off. We'll create a sketch, and we can create a circle. So C for circle, pick our center point, and we'll go with 12.2. And then E for extrude. To extrude cut this out, we're going to go with minus 20 mils. Then we can press H for hole and pick the face at the bottom of that hole there, and we'll just drag this around until it snaps to that center point. Boom, there we go. Alright, so this is actually going to go on to a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6.5, and that's got an M10 by 1.2 mil pitch thread on the shaft. So we want to have a tapped hole, and we need to make sure that we've got 10 mil selected from the drop down here and choose M10 by 1.25. We don't want to model the thread, but we do need to set the depth of the thread here, and that is 32 mils. We click OK and check that out. We've got everything we need. Really, we just need to add a chamfer on here, so I can select that edge and choose chamfer from the context menu, and that's going to be 1 mil. Now we have it. So obviously we can play around with this geometry however much you want. We can come back to here, and this is a bit over the top, so I am going to grab this and pull it back a bit further. We'll come back minus 3.5 I reckon, and we'll pull that back in as well by 1 mil. Okay, and so there we have it, ready to go. So over to you now, John. Thanks for tuning in today, guys, and yeah, take care, have fun. Got any questions, fire away in the comments below, And if you like this, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks again. Goodbye.